another bang. All the Mars and cars now, whichever get up. Light up my scarred with a sweet one bliss. Someone flicks me a bag it up. Oh, another one. It's another one, yeah. It's a full strand, yeah. Oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah.
What's going on, people? Welcome into another episode of the Stay Weighed-In show. I'm joined by my man Ray. How you doing?
So, man, a successful hate watch has you smiling, man. That's all I'm saying. I'm still living high off of that win, man. You need to inject that, man. How you doing?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it because I see way too much disrespect. We're gonna go into it properly. Like, I'm gonna talk about a lot of people that coming out speaking like they weren't sporting Fury just about 6 months ago and stuff like that. But before we go into that, as you guys know, this is a Stay Weighed-In show presented to you by iBoxingHub in association with our partnership with D-Rock Clothing. So you know what to do. iBoxingHub 24. Head on over to the website, get yourself 40% off. But as you said, Ray, the dust has settled. One man stands tall. He's from Ukraine. Back-to-back undisputed, two-time undisputed Oleksandr Usyk. And just talk to me about what that means in the world of boxing right now.
Listen, man. Do you know what? Before, I used to, let me not disrespect Canelo. However, I'll say now, in terms of the 2020s,
yeah,
there are three top people in this current generation. I'll say Canelo took the latter part of the 2010s. And then, nearly halfway through into the 20s, ironically, with all the fighters of older age are dominating. In Usyk, CRAWFORD, who are 35 plus, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And then in a way, it's early 30s, so it's not. But yeah, the significant is that they have shown themselves to be the outliers in this current generation of fighters. Two-time undisputed, especially with Usyk, because if you want to talk about pound for pound, he literally is at heavyweight. He's gone from a contracted weight to whatever weight you can come in as heavy as possible. And he went in there, he toppled a guy that many thought was going to be, the rightful owner to the crown of undisputed. And it's like just a few years ago, we were asking ourselves, is it going to be Fury, AJ, or Wilder? And the fact that Usyk has been the one to rise above it all, kudos to him.
I was going to say, you mentioned the three there, but then you also said that point right at the end that it's like Oleksandr Usyk came in and within, it's his fifth fight at heavyweight?
Yeah.
He's undisputed. Like, in terms of that ability to do what he's just done there, like, how has that happened? If that makes sense. Because like you said, it was always AJ, Fury, Deontay Wilder. And then here comes this guy who shouldn't be doing what he's doing. And when I say that, I don't mean in a disrespectful way. I mean, he's competing against guys that are just significantly bigger than him, have all the attributes of a heavyweight who should not be able, should go through this guy quite comfortably. But here he stands, undisputed. How is he doing this?
That's greatness. He's cut from that cloth. I think he took his time as well at heavyweight. He didn't put on too much weight. He didn't do the thing that some people do, where it's like, I'm going heavyweight, let me just scoff a whole bunch of food and just try to put on more weight onto my frame. He's just fighting his natural weight class. And I think this is not going to work for everyone, but for a lot of people, this is a good advertisement as well. Like, fight near your natural weight class to the point where you get optimum performance, because you're not out here always cutting the most weight, or like your body feels the best. And like I said, kudos to him, because a lot of people go up to heavyweight and they feel like, oh, because my man's going to be weighing such and such, I need to put on so much weight so I don't get bullied around. It's like, no, he knows his body, he knows his frame, and then he just went in there, fought the fight he needs to fight. He's been a road warrior, because every single title he's won has not been on home ground. He's always been the away fighter. And I think the first Joshua fight, do you know what's funny? Because we were so close to getting the undisputed between AJ and Fury. Well, let me not say we're so close, because your
That
guy.
was the fight. That was
No,
the
that
fight.
was the fight, but your guy Fury was playing some nasty tactics
Hey,
at the time. That's the listen. He's got to hold that. And then obviously Usyk came in as the guy where it's just like, all right, cool, let's just get this mandatory out of the way, and AJ can face Fury. Then he beats AJ, and everyone's kind of just like, what the hell? And listen, justice for AJ as well, on a side note, because a lot of you guys tried to feel like, oh, you can talk rubbish on AJ because he lost to Usyk because you didn't know him. And then when he beat him the second time, you lot try to say, my boy, AJ was done. And then now that Usyk's come up on top, it's like, look, see.
All I'm gonna say to counter that, all I'm gonna say to counter it is AJ's gone 24 rounds with Usyk. Tyson's only done 12. So let's see what happens.
And one of them has not been knocked down. 24 rounds, he never got knocked down.
Well, technically, he never got knocked down. But we're gonna go on to that.
Let's not do that. Let's
can go on to it.
AJ was never spiraling on the ropes like Fury was. AJ was never saved by the ref like Fury was. Don't try to bring that in.
Okay, do you know what? Let's go into the fight just a bit before we talk about obviously going forward with Tyson and Usyk themselves. The fight for me, it looked like it was panning towards Tyson Fury being able to shut out Oleksandr Usyk when you take away what I call the feeler rounds between 1 to 3. And then we get to round 9. And Oleksandr Usyk lands that shot. And from there, it just felt like there wasn't any sort of recovery available for Tyson Fury. We know what he's able to do in terms of the recovery power, but it just felt like something had been sucked out of him. And then we had Oleksandr Usyk go into the championship rounds. And we've said it before in every preview we've done, every video. Oleksandr Usyk and then championship rounds, something just hits where he becomes a different monster. Just talk to me about the progression of the fight, and did it pan out to how you thought it was going to be?
The progression of the fight was we've had a lot of disagreements about this. I still stand there. I'm happy to see that a lot of boxing world didn't make me look crazy. I had Usyk winning the first 4 rounds, but minimum, there's a lot of people that said, the majority of people said they had Usyk winning 1 to 3. There's some people that gave Fury early rounds, which is crazy to me. Then the second quarter of like 4 to 6. Fair, I'll say Fury was making a comeback into the fight and made adjustments. 6 and 7 is one of those, what do you call it?
Swing rounds?
Swing rounds, yeah. It can go either way. And this goes to, like the commentators were saying about Usyk, one thing he's got a special ability to do is that the rounds that he needs to win, he goes there and wins. So I think going into the 9th round, a lot of people had it 4-4. And Usyk just realized, I need to do something different to differentiate myself from him, because they're going to, I think he knows deep down they were going to try rob him if the fight got close. And there was an overhand left that he kept on landing on Fury, and he just said, F it, he just let it go. 9th round, boom, against the ropes, boom, against the ropes again, which should have been kind of.
I've got the visual. I've got the visual. Do you get what I mean?
Like one rope, he leans to another rope, boom, he gets hit again, which should have counted as a knockdown. The ref decided not to, fair enough. He starts stumbling across one side, I think the right side of the ring. And then he's about to finish him, and the ref goes, "No, we're going to count it a knockdown now." And I said, that man was robbed of a knockout. That man.
I'm going to say this.
He was not going to give a knockdown for those other times that he hit the ropes twice before that. The first time, all right, cool, let's give it to him that he rebounded. The second time he hit the ropes, I'm sorry, that is a knockdown, because those ropes saved him from going down. Then, when he's about to finish him, now you want to step in and be like, all right, cool, it's a knockdown now. It's like, no, let him finish it. However, we digress. But after that quarter, that last quarter of the fight, from 10 to 12, Usyk just was just like, he was just catching him, and he won. At that point, he bloodied Tyson's nose, his eye was mashed up, and he made Tyson download CTE, because that man said Happy New Year in May.
It's interesting you said that, because we always talk about sitting targets or something that becomes visible. you said a lot was made of the cut going into it, but what you saw was, I think it was from round one. It might have been just a skinny jab or whatever it was.
Mm.
Something hit Fury's nose where coming into even round 2 and 3, he was constantly wiping it. And it just felt like something had hit him there where it was just a nuisance throughout and it just got worse. But I'm going to talk about one other nuisance, and that was his corner. Because we always say there's too many, what's the saying? There's too many cooks in the kitchen. Exactly the same when it comes to his corner. Because if you get in Sugar Hill, who's trying to give you a game plan, and on the flip side, you got John Fury who's just shouting at you saying,
We're
you're up,
fighting men.
boxing.
No,
Yeah,
not even that we're up. We're up, and just give him a jab. Don't let him
yeah.
do that. We're fighting men, and it's just like, brother, he needs
Now,
technical advice.
this is what I was going to say for the repercussions, because we saw it with Deontay Wilder with what happened in terms of his corner as well when they threw in the towel. Is there a possibility that, I don't think John's going to leave his corner, but I believe he should do, that Sugar Hill may feel the repercussions, and if the rematch goes when it does in October, we might not see Tyson with him.
Tyson's not stupid.
Mm.
The only time I think Tyson might get rid of Sugar Hill, if he faces AJ and he knows that's his retirement fight, he then might just want to try to keep the money in-house as much as possible. So he might get rid of Sugar Hill. But deep down, he doesn't want to do that, because deep down, he knows he hasn't looked as good as he has without Sugar Hill. Even, like, you see it, because obviously Sugar Hill is based in America. So you see it when Tyson Fury has his camp in the UK and he's just with the UK guys and Sugar Hill hasn't joined them. You see how much he slacks off.
Yeah.
You see how much he slacks off. It's not until Sugar Hill comes that he's, decides to kick his butt into gear. So I don't think, we all know the truth. If he gets rid of Sugar Hill, I think it's more to do with money than it is to do with like the disagreement. As for the John Fury thing, I don't know if Tyson will ever tell John Fury he has to chill, because I feel like John Fury is also one of those type of people that if you tell him to chill, he's just going to be like, all right, you don't want me in my corner, I'm not going to be there at all. And I think Tyson Fury knows that. And as much as he loves him, he's in a bit of a conundrum where it's just like, if he tells his dad to chill, his dad might just throw a strop and say, leave me alone. And it's unfortunate for Tyson Fury. But I'll also say at the same time, we've seen the best out of him that we can at this point. He's not going to get better. And I think the irony is, this isn't Usyk at his best. I think Usyk's also in the twilight of his career. His twilight is just better than everyone else's twilight.
I was going to say just quickly then, because before we talk about what's next in terms of rematches, potential fights and stuff, I know you're not a Fury guy, but the reaction for me has been like, it's like, when we see with AJ as well, where it's like, okay, he's lost. We can now get at him. We found a way to get at him. That's what I feel like is happening right now with Tyson. It's like,
We
okay,
are
his
not doing that. No.
No, we can do that.
Wait.
We can do that.
To all the hate watchers out there that have been saying this about Tyson Fury for time, let's get one thing straight. Tyson Fury has been a breath of fresh air when we needed him. Tyson Fury has absolutely stepped up in certain moments when we didn't think he was going to do. Tyson Fury has absolutely been the character that the game has needed when it's been positive for the sport. Tyson Fury absolutely held up his own bargain in this fight. That should never be taken away from him, because my goodness, say what you want about the loss, laugh about him, which I only do it agenda-wise, because he fought a hell of a fight. However, after all saying that, in the words of Adrian Broner, he got cooked. Listen, let me tell you something right now.
This is what I mean.
There is a lot of people, including myself, including many others, that will look like crazy people calling out Fury, where we said, as good as he is, he's not as great as some people kept on trying to put him across. Some people kept on trying to, like, when he was getting away with like fighting Chisora, then fighting Ngannou, then fighting Dillian White, And then what's the other stuff he was doing? Saying Usyk is 60-40. Usyk said, okay. It's 70-30. Usyk said, okay. And then you still said, nah. And then you done a video when they're laughing at him. It was just like, I've had enough. Like, this is the guy that you lot keep on trying to praise.
But this is the thing.
And what a lot of the hate watchers, that are watching that fight is seeing, it's like, this is the comeuppance that we knew what was coming, and you kept on pretending that you was the boogeyman and Usyk was the real boogeyman. And I will not, and me and other hate watchers will not be shamed in the fact that we was calling this out about Tyson a long time ago. Now, the people that are turncoats, the people that are backing, the only people that should be called out with the nasty behavior is if you backed Tyson Fury before this and all of a sudden now you're changing your tune, you are nasty people. You're very nasty. Because we don't want all the real hate watchers out there. We don't want you on our bus, on our boat, nothing. Stay. We're not taking no new admissions. We're only for the real haters. But all the new people, all the turncoats, nasty, all nasty.
No, but this is the thing. My point isn't that. My point is that you can get at him for all the stuff that he's done in the past and stuff. I think I'm just looking at it from a point of view where I'm seeing a lot of people that are saying Tyson Fury is really not that good. Tyson Fury is not this. He's not really that. His record isn't as great as he thinks he is.
It
no. Let's be real. At the end of the day, he is a heavyweight fighter. It's the one division where you can get hit with one punch and knock you out. No matter what people say, no matter what you discredit one particular fighter that he fought 3 times, he did fight the heaviest puncher in pro boxing. He did get knocked down 4 times, which I'm also going to say is a reason why at this present moment in time, I do worry for him a bit, because now you're seeing that in his last 3 fights, in his last 4 to 5 fights, he's been knocked down or had a standing count 5 times. That is a worry for me in terms of Tyson Fury and what he can absorb going forward. But I just think, look, it's like we just want to jump on the bandwagon, like I said. I think there's a lot of people that are jumping on the bandwagon, and I feel that is disgusting.
I feel like, the bandwagon people are disgusting because, I don't like turncoat people. If you're going to stand behind someone, or sometimes this is what you can do as well. Sometimes you can say,
I'm wrong. That's fine.
The guy who I was supporting wasn't as great as I thought he was, but I'm still back my guy. All those type of people
I do that with Spence. I can't get off Spence. Spence is my guy.
Listen, and I'm still team Spence, but you saw when Spence lost, we were both like, we had to eat crow. We had to say Crawford's the better fighter, but Spence is still our guy. So all the turncoats, you can call them out. But for people like me and others that was saying this whole time that Tyson Fury is not as good as some of you lot are portraying him to be, we was vindicated because we just saw through. Do you know what it's like sometimes? It's like, I can't even give this guy credit because the media were just doing too much. Because I will never, like I said, I can't discredit the good things that Tyson Fury has done. But then it got to a point where, you know me, don't ever compare anyone to Lennox Lewis, especially from Tyson Fury's resume. When they were trying to put his name next to Lennox Lewis, that's when it crossed the line. I said, you lot are sick. I can't believe this is like one of the best heavyweights ever, let alone the best British heavyweight. And you're trying to compare Tyson Fury to him. Do you know what Lennox Lewis has done in this game? Like, this is a guy who avenged all losses. Gold medal at the Olympics. Like, he's beaten the greats of his generation, the greats before him and the greats after him. So the fact that it was just like, I didn't. That was my reason for not liking it. But that's the whole nother. That's where I put my foot down and I said, I don't like this Tyson Fury hype because people are giving him more credit than he's actually due. But
I hear it.
I will give him credit.
For me, I just think, listen, Granddad Frank, bring me on the show. That's all I'm saying. Frank Warren, Granddad Frank, bring me on the show. Let's have a conversation. I do want to touch just quickly before we go on a little bit on Cattrall Taylor or Taylor Cattrall. The rematch, the proposed rematch, supposedly meant to happen in October. We know already that Usyk's going to drop the IBF title, and that's going to be contested by Hrgovic and Dubois in 2 weeks. Do we want the rematch? Because I'll put it out there now, I don't. I don't want a rematch. I want this particular fight to be put to one side. The quality of the fight that we saw, the reasoning behind it, everything is perfect. Let's put it to one side. If they can fight again later on down the line, do it. But don't force the rematch for the sake of forcing a contractual rematch.
Listen, man, Undisputed is gone now because in about 2 weeks,
Yeah,
Usyk's gonna have to vacate the IBF because they want it mandated. And credit to as much as people are annoyed with the IBF, credit to them for actually being an organization that actually enforces its mandates in comparison to other shameful organizations. Which let me not get into the
Mauricio.
WBC. Yeah, let me not get into WBC. But what I will say is this: the real fight to make, let Fury take his time recovering, enjoy your money, take some time away from the sports, go on a holiday, stay off socials, just enjoy
Have a
life.
child.
Please, his missus, give his missus some rest. Isn't he like on the 7th or 8th already? Give the
Yeah,
missus
apparently
some
he
rest.
might have an 8th on the way.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. However, the real fight we all want to see now, make Fury first AJ. Just make it already. And the winner can get Usyk at the end of 2025. With AJ fighting in Wembley September, which is the proposed date for the IB. Well, what the rumor is that with Dubois and Hergovich fighting at the beginning of June, is supposedly meant to be for the IBF title, and then the winner of that is supposed to be facing AJ September at Wembley. The winner of that fight needs to face Fury. That is the fight to make. That is the big money fight. That is, for me, is the fight to do before, because this whole generation, give it a year or two, is done. I think
I'm gonna put something to you straight after this, but carry on.
I think
No, land.
Fury's in the end game now. I want him to. I haven't wanted this for him. Get your big payday. Go get your big payday. Face AJ, and after AJ knocks you out, go into retirement saying, "Listen, I've done it all. The miraculous return you made has been inspiration to many. Kudos to him, but be done." Then maybe do AJ versus Usyk 3, and then both of them can retire after that as well. Well, no, I think if AJ wins, he won't retire. But if Usyk wins that, then he can retire happily. This is the real end game. This is like all Saturday was. We love our references. Saturday was Infinity War. Saturday was Thanos at the end of Infinity War getting all the Infinity Stones, and Thanos equals to Usyk. Now, the end game, I believe, should be next year and not the end of this year. Fury lets it go. And I don't even, especially there's little shine on it as well, because Usyk's not going to be undisputed. Take some time.
You don't need it.
Take a fight that makes yourself look good, maybe, if you really want that. And then AJ Fury 2025. I think if AJ puts on quite a performance at September and calls out Fury, then that is the fight we'll get.
Do you know what I've just got in my head? So I don't know if you remember it. I think it was a WrestleMania. Hell in the Cell. I think it's Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and I think Triple H is the referee. The final picture is all three of them on the ramp. You can end it like that. You talk about references, Usyk, Fury, AJ, just stand there, end it like that, and just call it a night. Just call it a night for all three.
That would be, you see that image that reference you made there. That would be if Fury and AJ were to fight, and then Usyk comes into the ring after to say, "I'll face the winner." That is that.
Yeah.
One person is the end of the road for them. The other person gets that final fight with Usyk, and then late 2025 Riyadh season, we get the grand finale and the bow tie on this heavyweight generation. AJ versus Usyk, undisputed title.
That's nasty, but let's go.
Listen, one thing about me, I'm not gonna hide my bias. I'm team AJ 3.0, 3-time world champion AJ, soon to be undisputed I'm calling it now.
I hear it. I hear it. I just want to quickly move on just to touch over the fight that's happening on the weekend. Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall, too. Just quickly, based off what you've seen from Josh Taylor fighting at 140, the ego's not dropped, and I think that's the reason why he's done this 140 fight. And we saw with Joe Cordina over the past weekend what happens when you fight at a weight where you're struggling, but you just want to push for one last go. Is there a possibility that Josh Taylor could be stopped in this fight, or just in general? How do you think this particular fight's gonna go?
First things first, kudos to you because you called that Joe Cordina fight
4-1 underdog.
early.
Put the money on.
I wish I put money on it because you actually called that very early in our group chat. You said the way that Joe Cordina looks on the scales, from what he said about the weight class, you was right. And I'm upset I didn't put money down on that. But I think, yeah, it's the same thing with Josh Taylor. Like, a lot of us have said, you've been at that weight class too long. Like, you need to move up. And the same ego that helps him get to undisputed, unfortunately, it's the same ego that can get him in trouble here because he lost that Carroll fight. And if you recall, on the Stay Weighed In channel, I went live straight after that fight because I was absolutely disgusted and furious with how they robbed Carroll that night of becoming the new Undisputed Champion. And I just feel like now, Catterall, I guess because of how Josh Taylor handled that loss, Catterall now is like, forget about the belts. I just want blood. And I think Catterall will get his revenge. And hopefully he goes on to fight for one of the world championships at 140.
I was going to say, it's interesting you say that because I think for Josh, win, lose, draw, whatever, he's going to go up to 147.
He has to.
But for Jack, if he loses this fight, like, where does it put him? Because I don't see him moving up anywhere. He's going to be stuck at that domestic English level type of thing. Like, what
I
happens
think
with
Jack will be fine because at the end of the day, Josh Taylor's still a name at 140. That's still the undisputed champion. It's not like he's losing to some bum that's not like, yeah, he's just not losing to some bum. Like, Jack Carroll's in a position where there's certain people, as harsh as it sounds, I call it the George Kambosos situation. Actually, no, it's not as big as George Kambosos situation, but similar. You've overachieved. There's a lot of people that didn't have that high expectation of you to be where you are anyway. So I won't think it will hurt Jack Carroll as much to lose because it's one of those situations where you was a mandatory for, I believe it was the WBO at the time when he faced Josh Taylor. Everyone thought that you're just going to go in there and be, the big homecoming fight for Josh Taylor to make himself look good, and you just bought a sacrificial lamb. And the way Jack Carroll's stock has risen since then has been amazing because like I said, you was brought in there to be the mandatory that's just meant to get beaten and be a showcase fight. So anything now is a positive for Jack. And even as long as he doesn't get absolutely dominated, Jack Carroll's fine. He will be fine.
One thing for me before we wrap up is seeing all the build-up going into this fight. I think Jack's half confessed to himself to say that I didn't go for the jugular in the final rounds. Like, I let him off because I was up so much. And I think as a thing going into it, I think that's probably one of the biggest learning curves for him, in the sense that when you think you're up, do not allow that to let it be continue to put that pressure and continue to do what you've done in them rounds to make yourself feel like you're constantly winning. And I think one of the biggest mistakes, unfortunately, at that point was he left it into the judges. I believe they had won already.
Especially if I remember, he was like not the youngest, but he was still quite young in his career when it happened. And unfortunately, those mistakes happen. But is a mistake he regrets? Yes, but it's a mistake that he shouldn't have been punished for as much as he was.
Yeah, I hear what you mean.
I believe it was Undefeated Podcast. I saw a tweet where the irony, they said to Daniel Dubois, look how it looks when you think you deserve the KO, but you still kept on going for it, even though it wasn't given. And that was in relation to how Usyk, should have been an award in a KO, or at least attempt a KO for. However, when he didn't get it, he still went back and fought his ass off to get the finish. Whereas we saw with Dubois, he was deflated at the point of like the contested body shot that should have been, that could have been given to him. And instead of like getting onto him after, he was just like, woe is me. And then he just mentally left the track, and you can't. So some fighters is going to hit them in the most horrible way, but Jack seems to have learned from his mistakes. He seems to be in a better space right now. And I feel like just the audience that they've garnered for this fight in the northern part of the country, I very much like it. I think it's very special to see. And I actually hope that Jack gets a title shot, whether it is Teofimo's title or who's it? Matthias.
Yeah.
Matthias that has for Matchroom.
And he's with Matchroom anyway, so yeah.
And obviously you got Pitbull at PBC, where that's just a weird situation because I know they're not really trying to work with Matchroom. But either way, I want after this fight, please, Castro, go get your title shot, whether it's against Matthias, because I know what's his name, Hitchens Richardson, is moving silly with the title shot because he doesn't like the whole weight clause with IBS title fight. So if Hitchens doesn't want to take the fight, then I say give it to Catterall and let's see if he can go get that belt from Matthias.
No, I hear it. Listen, guys, we're gonna wrap up today's episode of the Stay Waiting Show. We'll be back next week, but obviously, as we always say throughout the week, there's always content. So obviously, hit up all the lives, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. As always, as well, quick little final shout out to our sponsor, D-Rock Clothing, iBoxingHub 24. Go get your merch. Go get yourself 40% off. Ray, final words from yourselves?
Subscribe. I hear it. Until next time, guys, stay